Look, everybody and their mother is overreacting to the Nuggets losing on opening night. We're going to tell you why. That might be a little bit of a strong take for this time here on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, parts of the Locked On Network, your team every day. Thank you for being an everydayer, folks. Thanks for being here on this Friday episode. We did a reaction episode last night, myself and Matt Moore, but now I'm with my guy Swipa on the other side. Very excited to get his opinions, his takes on what was obviously a very takes-worthy game last night as the Denver Nuggets lose in overtime, 137-131 to the Golden State Warriors in the opener of the season. My name is Ryan Blackburn, host here at Locked On Nuggets. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. He is Swipa, also over at Player's Choice and doing NBA and NFL content on that end, as well as for Locked On. So thank you guys for tuning into the show. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head over to FanDuel.com to get started. All right, Swipa, I wanted to talk about Jokic struggling. It was a massive topic that has been discussed ad nauseum over the course of the entirety of NBA Twitter and the NBA sphere. Holy cow, Jokic looks bad. Jokic looks horrible. He looks out of shape. What is going on? Is a really slow start. And then you hopped into this chat, and before we started, you made mention of a couple of different season openers that he's had where it hasn't exactly been up to par.
Yeah, Jokic was bad yesterday. There's obviously no getting away from that. I think that it's very fair to give criticism. But for me, I was interested. And so actually, on one of the platforms I'm on, I always have to prepare for war. So I went to I was looking at LeBron, see how he started every season. I looked at Kobe, how he started every season. I looked at Shaq, how he started every season in their primes. And then I was like, I think Nuggets fans, what I would say, just to give you some comfort, this happened to all the greats. It's happened to all of them. We're as good as they are, they will come into the season at times and they won't give you their very best performance of the year to start the year off. It doesn't happen often, but I also want to note this for Nuggets fans as well. It hasn't happened often for Jokic either. So obviously yesterday, he has 21, 13, and 10, 1-1. And at the face value, it's like, wow, triple-double opening night? That's amazing. But then you look at the shot diet, 8 of 23, 2 of 13 from 3, and then you remember some of the decisions that he was making in the game. It's like, man, he just looked like he was off-kiltered. I hated some of his process last night, Ryan. Not even the three-pointers. If you're open, shoot him, whatever. Yeah. But I'm talking about even when he got in the interior, he had a miss over Al Horford that didn't touch rim. He had a miss on Draymond Green. That was just a bad attempt from Jokic. It was rushed. His footwork was sloppy. He had another miss on Jonathan Kuminga that would led to a block because he was rushing, because his footwork was sloppy. I think he was playing as if he hadn't played an NBA game in a while. And the timing that was there in the first half for him wasn't there in the second half. And he just didn't adjust to it like we would have normally have seen. So when you look at what Jokic did last season, by the way, when he averaged 30, 13, 10, 2, and he shot, 63% from 2, 44% from 3 without heaves, and 81% or 80% from the free throw line. Last year, he opened the season versus OKC, 16 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, on 46% from the field. Shaky. 33% from 3.
Yeah, not
with
great.
A 54 true shooting. Then if you go through that, and then you look at the year they won 54 games versus the Clippers, 21, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 46% from the field. I think for Jokic, bad game. But this happens. It's going to happen every so often where Jokic isn't going to all the way be there. The great thing about it is he has an opportunity to play extremely well versus the Phoenix Suns on Saturday night. Chance to redeem himself on the team. But honestly, I was more taken away with how good Aaron Gordon looked, how good Jamal Murray looked, and how good Valanciunas looked.
Yeah. No,
What?
I mean, they were good. I'm just laughing because it's like, oh yeah, Jokic was bad. He was bad. But I was really really taking away how great these other guys were.
Yeah, because at some level, for me, Ryan, it's like, okay, what's the most repeatable thing from last night? Jokic having an awful game, being a bottom, 50 player in the league or whatever.
Yeah, he wasn't good.
And then Aaron Gordon going for 50, the most efficient 50-point game of all time, and then having 10 threes made. Jamal Murray going 25, 10 with 3 steals last night on an efficient play. Well, of all those things, the thing I believe that's not going to happen again is going to be Jokic playing bad. Yeah. And one of the reasons is I think as Jokic gets used to the timing of the year and gets used to playing on this team again. And I think in the first half run, he very much was like in kind of a facilitator role where he just wasn't being uber aggressive and he was just trying to like establish position at the nail. They're running the horn position. They were running a lot of down screens. They were running a lot of DHOs. Yeah. He sees Tim Hardaway Jr. getting integrated, Cam Johnson getting integrated. And then on top of that, Jamal Murray was playing well. And then Aaron Gordon was playing well. It felt like he got caught in everybody's kind of doing well. I don't want to take the shine. And then the moment the game's flipped, you need to be MVP again. And then he just got caught in this weird place of my jumper's not working, but now he's like kind of moving a little too quickly inside the paint. So I just think it was just a mix of a multitude of things that happened yesterday.
Maybe so. And like, look, you don't want to over-index again. Like, you don't want to over-index on one game because, as we've seen with Joker, it doesn't necessarily have to be the first game that's going to be the best game. He's going to have plenty of amazing games and performances throughout the year, which is why he is the MVP on most years. But like, I still think it's fair to criticize, like you talked about, the process was bad. I think a lot of that process, we may come back to looking at the shape and whether he's in good enough basketball shape at the beginning of the season for, like, I'm not worried about whether it's going to be that way at the end of the season. He'll play himself into it. He'll figure it out. The Nuggets, like, this is not going to impact their championship odds for me, but is it going to impact their win total? Or are they going to not win as many games at the beginning of the season because they're waiting on Joker to get right?
Look, it's possible. I just, you know what? Like, again, I'm really trying to turn a new leaf, Ryan. Like, really trying to be more process oriented, because you know what else is process oriented? Human beings. Nothing is ever moving in a lateral direction. We always do this. We ebb and flow. Ryan has great weeks where he looks like the best podcaster in the world. I have other weeks where he doesn't answer my text messages at all. I think some of this is I think that the Nuggets are finding a flow, and I think it's going to take time for them to get there. Obviously, we'll talk about Cam Johnson here in a little bit, and then we'll talk about Christian Brown here in a little bit as well. But honestly, I was really happy with the game one performance. I mean, you would want them to come away with the win. If Jokic makes a free throw to end the game, and Steph Curry makes that three, then now they have to foul. So maybe they don't get in a situation. Maybe it's never overtime because Jamal Murray goes to the line, he makes his free throws in this game. If Jokic makes any of those wide open three-pointers he's had, the situation changed. I think Jamal Murray in the second half was not as involved as he was in the first half. But again, I also think that the Golden State started turning their coverages away in different ways. Aaron Gordon was going crazy. But again, the issue is, bro, it's like if Jokic has like a normal game, they run away with their performance yesterday in Golden State. But they wouldn't have been in that situation last year. And that's one of my real takeaways is like the options available to this team are so apparent because they won the non-Jokic minutes yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about the last second blowout. Valanciunas in the middle of the floor looked like a force. Peyton Watson, I think, played relatively well yesterday, and I think he's learning a new role. I think Bruce Brown played good defense at times yesterday. He was rebounding the ball well. I think it's just a matter of how do they make sure that they're continuing to work on the process of getting better. David Adelman didn't have the best game yesterday. I thought the rotations were good, but I thought there were multiple plays that he should have challenged yesterday. He kept them all in his pocket for some reason. He is the opposite of Mark Dagnall. Mark Dagnall will challenge anything.
Yeah, I will.
David Adelman just didn't challenge anything at all yesterday, and that also could have changed the flow of the game. Ultimately, it always starts at the top, and if you're going to wear the best player in the world title, then you get to get the praise, you get to blame, and Jokic deserves to blame for why they lost yesterday.
For sure. And look, he'll turn it around. We know that. Like, this is how it works. He will be better because he has always been better. So I think it'll be interesting to see how quickly that turns around, but we'll find out. When we come back, let's play a game. Let's play reaction versus overreaction. Looking forward to getting Swipa's thoughts on some of the takes we've got here on Locked On Nuggets. All right, folks, let's talk about Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again, channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, trade stocks, ETFs, options, futures, and crypto, all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop from Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of your new Robinhood Strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more of yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. We're also brought to you today by DoorDash. The NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is on the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the bag drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, we had 2 last night, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff you'll actually want. So the next time something comes up and somebody goes off for 50, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only, 50% off. Up to $10 a day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash, in your bag all season long. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets.
Should have left you up there on the screen silently.
It's something
I thought about it. I
with
hesitated for half a second too. I was just like, oh, what if I just leave him there?
It's not great. Back at it. Locked On Nuggets. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, folks. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for being an everydayer. For our consistent listeners, we got something special for you coming. So very excited for that. All right, let's talk about some overreactions. Reactions, let's actually play a game. Reaction versus overreaction. I'm curious to get your thoughts, Swipa, because this is one where all the fans, it's the first game that they see. They have their takes. They think that take is going to just be what happens for the rest of the season. Oh, no. Is Jokic going to be bad for the rest of the season? No, that's probably an overreaction. So I want to give you a couple of takes. You give me a couple of takes, and we could discuss whether they're reactions or overreactions. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Cam Johnson's going to be bad for at least 2 months.
Is that 30 games?
Yeah.
Bad? I think that's an overreaction.
On we'll call it average. His not him being average, but like his average baseline performance is going to be a bad game relative to expectation.
Box score wise or just like play wise,
Both. Like however you want to take it.
No, I think it's just I think after the first 10, 15 games, his role will start to be more familiarized. But right now he's trying to learn how to be in this different Nugget system. It's just not something that he is used to. And he's also, remember he played with Devin Booker and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. But even that is a different kind of system. He never played with the big like this. So you have a big who hits the ball at the nail. You're running DHOs. You're running a lot of off-ball stuff. And remember, when you had Chris Paul, a lot of it is Chris Paul, navigate, screen, corner three. Devin Booker, nail, ISO, free throw, nail, ISO. You get down to the post area, and then he's kind of a relief valve. I think Cam Johnson, you're doing so much movement in Denver, but then when you get late game situation, KCP knew this. Christian Brown knows this now. Porter knew this. Like, late game, it's a 3-man game. It's Murray, it's Jokic, and it's Gordon. But now Gordon is a flamethrower, so now we've even changed how the 2-man game is looking at. So like yesterday when they had the game tying or the potential game-winning shot from Aaron Gordon, AG's at the top on the right wing. Normally he would be in the dunker spot. So even like the floor mapping is a new thing to learn and get used to. So I think that once he gets confident in what he's doing and he gets confident in his movement, I think the shots will start falling. I actually defensively yesterday, he held up fairly well. And the Nuggets kept getting caught when they would put 2 on ball versus Curry and they would have a short roll. They kept getting caught with 1 man in between the short roll, which is Draymond or Horford, and then having the low man at the dunker spot who just finished with the layup. Cam Johnson was the only person to make the proper rotation to get a deflection on that action. So even in process, he was learning how to do it. So I don't think it's going to take 2 months. I do think it will take some time, though.
Fair take. I wonder, by the way, on the offensive end, if Christian Brown should be the guy that's in the dunker spot going forward and just like place him there and take advantage of the fact that he is a good athletic finisher at the rim on a consistent basis. And then you have your snipers, Cam Johnson and Aaron Gordon on the perimeter. That wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. Yeah,
I think that'd be interesting to try. Is Brown a good enough of a leaper off vertical to be able to utilize that spot?
He's got a 40-inch, so like it wouldn't like it should be able to happen, but I don't know. Who knows?
Sure.
All right, give me a take. Give me a take that you want to you think could be a reaction or an overreaction.
Oh, how about this one? This is easy. Jamal Murray. He is going to be, for the first 20 games of the year, a 22, 23, and 7 guy for the first 15, 20 games of the year on good efficiency.
Well, it's not that far off from what he usually averages over the course of the last 65 games, 60 games of the season every year. So I think it's a good take. It seems like he's ready to go. Denver's schedule for those first kind of 15 to 20 games it's relatively easy. It's one where Jamal, given the burden of expectation he's going to have for both the starters and the bench unit, they're just going to rely on him a lot. As frankly, as Jokic kind of gets his way back into where he's supposed to be, as Cam Johnson learns the system, as the Nuggets figure out a whole bunch of bench unit guys, like Jamal's going to have the ball in his hands a ton, and he's making good decisions with it. I know there are a lot of people that over-indexed on the 3 turnovers that he had last night. They happened at inopportune moments. For the most of the game, he had 0. Like he had a 10 assist to 3 turnover ratio and was playing pretty efficient basketball. So I think he's in a really good place. I think that is a reaction, not an overreaction.
And by the way, just for context, yesterday as a pick and roll ball handler, he was averaging 1.20 points per possession in pick and roll as a ball handler yesterday.
Tremendous.
So,
that's great.
Yeah, monster.
Exactly what you want from your leading guy. I've got one more for you. The bench is going to be positive for the entire season. Like it's going to be positive. Like you take the aggregate, like there will be times where they have negative plus minuses, but the Nuggets for the first time in a long time will have a positive plus minus when Nikola Jokic is off the floor.
Yeah, that's hot. Scorching hot take. I don't see that happening. Doesn't happen a lot. There is a possibility though where Jonas Valanciunas and Peyton Watson, Tim Hardaway Jr., maybe they're able to make that work now. But I guess to hold my own self to the fire, if Jamal Murray's playing this well and he's playing with the second unit like he did yesterday, maybe it can work, because all of a sudden Jamal has a real big that can screen and roll outside of Jokic, and he was cooking. So there's a world where it happens, but I doubt that it gets to be that good.
Spencer Jones got in the game over Julian Strawther. That was definitely more for plus minus perspective as opposed to just like getting more like production. And they may not need the production from a guy like Julian Strawther, the kind of additional kind of game-changing nature of a Deron Holmes or somebody like that. They just need stability because they feel like if Jamal and Jonas Valanciunas and Tim Hardaway are out there, then Denver's got enough offense. So who knows? I'm curious to see how it breaks down. You have another take?
Yeah. Aaron Gordon will average 20 points a game over the next 15 games.
Oh, I mean, I think that's a reaction. I don't think that's crazy. I honestly think that they, especially while Cam Johnson gets adjusted, especially while Jokic tries to figure out his stuff, because Jamal is going to be staggering with the second unit, they're going to go to AG a lot. And if he continues to deliver, I think that there is no doubt that he can do it. The question is whether, like, as they try to work in Christian Brown a little bit more, as they try to work in Cam Johnson a little bit more, are those guys going to take away from the shots of Aaron Gordon? Are they going to take away from the shots of Jokic or of Murray? I think it's a fair question because there's only a certain number of shots that they're going to get. Say it again.
Who do you think should shoot less? Like,
I don't know if there's anybody that I think should shoot less.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of worked out. Like, I honestly think that, like, AG was being left open on the perimeter a lot, and so he took a lot of shots. It wasn't a ton of self-created stuff. Like, there were probably 5 or 6 different possessions where it was self-created, but for the most part, it was just kind of working within the flow, and the ball just happened to find him. So I still think that he'll find him pretty consistently. Like, Denver's got threats all over the floor, so teams are going to leave him, and they're going to leave. Sometimes they'll leave Cam Johnson open, and maybe that'll be the time where he gets to get 25.
Sure.
Last take I have for you. Oh gosh, what was it? I just thought of a good one. The Nuggets will not win a title if they do not figure out a solution for shorter, quicker guards.
That's a reaction. I think that is fair, but they're going to have so many other advantages over a lot of those teams that, like, they'll be able to play into that. But that's going to make their job much harder. Can Christian Brown get there by the end of the year? That's going to be my question.
Bruce Brown probably going to be the main guy, I would say, in those situations. But I'm thinking, like, it's not just Steph Curry. I actually think the teams in the East are a little bit more concerning than the teams in the West in that regard. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, and Jalen Brunson are the 3 that I'm really circling for the Nuggets. Like, this might not be something that they have to deal with that much until the finals. And then at that point, you're a finals team, so who knows? But it is a concern, I think. Like, Christian is a little bit bigger, and you want him to match up with some of those bigger guards, those bigger wings. But against the shorter guys, they might need a different guy.
Sure.
All right, let's take one more break. When we come back, we're going to kind of look around the league a little bit. We'll talk about the scandal that happened, that I think there's a lot of concerns about the integrity of the game and things like that. But other than that, the NBA has been amazing, and we're going to talk about why on this latest episode here of Locked On Nuggets. All right, let's talk about Rougiet. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rougiet comes in. Rougiet.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know that we sent you. Rougiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. We are also brought to you today by FanDuel. The NFL season is here. NBA season is here as well, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick one bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel for the parlays. Hit one last night. Unfortunately, bet on Steph Curry 5+ threes because I thought he would be an issue for Denver, and ultimately he was. Player props, following the lines live. It's all fun. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Oh, hold up a little bit of a delay there on the screen, Swipe. A little bit of a delay, huh?
You know, if you ever watch Ryan, those silent moments are his worst fear. And so he literally, you can see the nervousness creeping over him. And I think time is moving so much faster in your head than it is in reality. Ryan, if the people have to spend an extra second and a half just staring at you and your great hair, then just, you got to let it happen.
Yes. I think that's my next step, my development in my character development as a person. Just have to be willing to be silent for just a little bit longer. All right, we're back. Final segment of Locked On Nuggets. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. The NBA this week has been fantastic. Before we get into some of the games, though, I do think that we should probably cover the not so great stuff that has happened in the NBA.
Right after the FanDuel ad.
Yeah, right after the FanDuel ad. Now, to be fair, and as Matt had mentioned, if you want to go listen to a really good discussion on this, Matt Moore on Locked On NBA Daily on the show with Wes Goldberg and Hayes, he had some really good thoughts on the legitimacy and the actual certification and the federal stuff that is going on at the federal level that was able to catch some of the stuff that was happening in games, and that it's actually the legalization of everything and the legitimization of everything helped catch this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something to be said about that. I will say, I know that for lots of casual fans and lots of people that are just tuning in, or they already had preconceived notions about sports betting and gambling and things of that nature, this is not going to be a fun story. But obviously, Chauncey Billups was arrested. Terry Rozier was arrested. Damon Jones, who was a former coach, former player, also arrested, connected to betting scandals on both off the court, on the court, to the Italian mafia. There was a federal probe that happened from the FBI. There are plenty of other people that have referenced this. I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts. This is the first time we've had an opportunity to talk about it on Locked On Nuggets. What was your initial reaction, and where do you think this kind of goes?
Well, given, just for context, everybody, the Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups charges are two separate things. And I think that my first reaction was, obviously, as somebody who's from Park Hill, and Chauncey Billups is the king of Park Hill, as he was called and self-titled. I met Chauncey in 2004. So, this is a long time ago. I've known Chauncey's brother, Rodney, for a long time. So for me, this was obviously, something I did not love to hear. But the thing is, with the way the NBA is, there's just going to be a lot of very interesting scenarios and a lot of conversations the league is going to have to continue to have about sports gambling in general. Players gamble. This has been going on for decades. Players gamble with each other. Players on planes, in hotels, at events, at restaurants. They gamble millions of dollars worth of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars exchange hands between players. This is natural. It's a part of the game. It's a part of just the camaraderie. But Chauncey Billups, the allegations are alleging that he was a part of a greater, seemingly almost like an organized crime syndicate where they were setting up poker games that were rigged. And we have recordings as of 2023, Ryan, where there were some pro poker players openly talking about knowing that the games that Chauncey Billups was a part of, that they were rigged, and that the pros were finding they were on the downside more often than not, and that people that were not good at the sport of poker were winning heavy hands.
It was wild clip that I saw that you're talking about here. Wild.
Consistently.
Yeah.
So it seems to be common knowledge, Ryan, that for years he's been doing this, or at least a part of an organization that's been doing this. Again, alleged crimes. Terry Rozier, on the other hand, there was incidences in which he was telling people to bet the under on his play, and then he would then play, exit a game, and then from there were hundreds of thousands of payouts on just Terry Rozier himself.
Now, I'm pretty sure that was just I think there's only been one discussed instance of that, them kind of looking at this and thinking, okay, this is where that happened.
Yeah.
We don't know whether it happened more often than not, but I think if you're a fan, you're wondering, okay, how many times did this happen? Terry Rozier was really bad last year, really bad for the last couple of years. Like, how often did this happen, kind of thing?
Yeah. So in the story, it mentioned that this had happened in particular, one point in particular, where it was over $200,000 apparently that were moved and won in this system.
Yeah.
Damon Jones, the other alleged name inside of this allegations, when he heard that LeBron James years ago was not going to be playing, he then told his people to place bets on the other team that was playing versus the Lakers before the knowledge had come out. So all of this stuff is illegal. The NBA, they purportedly have paperwork, seminars, classes in which they are directly telling athletes, do not do these things. And most athletes, they follow the rules because they're good citizens and they also just don't want to risk their careers. Sure. And it seems, Ryan, that with the influx of betting, prop betting, sports betting money that's now being swirled around the NBA, there are potentially more players that will be connected to this long term. And just so people understand how serious it is, Ryan, in one of the stories with Jonte Porter for last season, there were reports that there had been credible threats made on Jonte's life in connection to sports betting, which is also the main reason, other than the financial one, the main moral reason that they do not want their players engaged in prop betting and sports betting in the legal sense. It's because when you are tied to the mafia or some of these organized crime syndicates around the world, these are very dangerous organizations, very dangerous people that could put the player and their families at risk, and the NBA does not want that.
It's scary as hell. The integrity of the game is so important to everybody. You want to know that what you are watching is legitimate. The worst thing in the world is to feel like the game is fixed against you, or as a fan, it's you're the outcome that you're hoping for. It's like not up to the players. It's not up to the actual like outcome of like what should naturally happen. If you feel like there are other factors that are pulling against that, that is of course one of the worst feelings you can have as a fan. So I hope that it gets straightened out. I think that it will. I think that this is a big scare that will probably repress a lot of some of these things that are happening. But the more legalization of and kind of the federal at the federal level, it's going to become more prevalent, and the restrictions will become actually more stringent, I think, and I would hope. So we will see. Last thing I kind of wanted to cover here, we're not going to get to the week, unfortunately. Big Honey says it's just hypocritical that the NBA can eat off of the sponsorships from betting apps, but the players and coaches obviously aren't allowed to partake. That's what the salaries are for, man. That's one of the reasons why the salaries are so high. It's because of the influx of betting money. It's like the major partnerships and the major sponsorships, they're getting money and the players are getting salary for that.
Yeah, and it's also when you're directly involved in the outcome of an event and you're betting on the said outcome of that event, that then puts you in an extremely compromised situation to which other people, including yourself, can either coerce and take advantage and or manipulate the outcome of an event or your own personal scoring or rebounds or assists. That is just super murky and super dangerous. And again, you just don't want to put the teams and the organizations in position to like, are you betting the under on yourself, which is why you're underperforming? Those are all questions that you really just don't want to answer.
Completely fair. And we'll see how this continues to unfold. Again, these are accusations that there have been arrests, but nothing has been confirmed in a court of law yet. So saw the NBPA put out some statements that they're going to defend the innocence of their candidates and they're going to force the legal system to work, which is what it's there for. So I think it's the right call from all entities. And I hope that you just hope that the legitimacy comes out and that there wasn't actually any wrongdoing. So we'll see what happens. But for now, folks, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Nuggets. Thank you for tuning into the show. Really appreciate the love and support on the podcast as always. Matt and I will be back on Saturday night after the season opener at home, and it should be a fun night. Hopefully the Nuggets can bounce it back. Thank you so much. Enjoy. We'll see you guys very soon.